think it's time, man. I think it's time for me to get a new table. Start adjusting things and making this area a little bit more, I think a little bit bigger, I think is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, man. Just out here in the corner, out here in the wild, getting shit done one day at a time, doing the best we can. That's all we got. So what's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Everyone having a good week, getting ready for the holidays. They're coming up very soon. They'll be here before we know it. If you got family coming in, you don't get along with the family, well, it's time for you to get along with the family, man. No time to be an asshole. No time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. Nobody got time for that. I want to welcome this new piece of art I have here. I have a salt rock. One of my friends got it for me. Actually, his mother got it for me for like $1 at Goodwill. And it's awesome, and I love it. And it's right here. I'm going to try to... Here's what it looks like. It changes between like 4 or 5 colors. But now I got that added to the collection. Got me a cacti, 3 cacti. Got my brains here. Got my brain behind me. Got my chimps. We got our own little hangout, guys. We're 44 episodes deep. Shit's moving along. I'm loving it every day. I get to come up here and I get to talk to you beautiful people. And that shit makes me happy as fuck. And I love it. And it's all because of all the support I get. And, yeah, and I'm thankful for it every day. And I don't ever take this for granted. And I keep hitting that gas hard. And you know what? You guys keep showing love. And I'm going to keep producing the episodes because, you know what? It's capitalism, right? Supply and demand. If the demand's there, hey, I got to provide. You know what I mean? I got to give you guys what you guys want to hear. And I got to, yeah, so... But how's it going, man? How am I doing? I have therapy today. I was doing therapy at one point. I was doing it once a month, man. Or once a month. I was doing it once a week. And it was great. I loved it. Once a week therapy was so awesome. And it was helping me so much get my shit together, get my life together. More than anything, how to get my life together when shit wasn't going right, but how to do it on my own. Coping mechanisms. Bettering myself in relationships, starting to set my priorities straight, and looking out for myself, which in turn helps everybody else around me. If you know, it's like a shitty race car. Like, if you're going to get out there and you're going to try to fucking race on NASCAR and you go out there with this stupid Beetle, you know, or a stupid car, like a Jeep Cherokee, you're going to get burned, man. Before you get out there, before you hang out with the real cars, before you hang out with the people that are good people, you got to be a good people too, you know, so you got to look out for yourself. You got to take care of yourself. You got to put yourself first, and then shit starts popping off. But I was going to therapy once a week, man, and I kind of stopped with school starting, and shit, I got to study, man. Today, I got an exam. If you guys are watching this, I had an exam today. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, I have an exam today, and hopefully it went well. And then if you guys are listening to this on audio, I'm preparing for my exam, so we'll see how that goes. But, fuck, what was I talking about? The podcast. Yeah, therapy. So I was going like once a week, man. I've talked about that before on this podcast. I've talked about it before. Oh, look at this shirt, dude. I'm wearing this fucking purple shirt. This is a violet shirt, I think. And it's got one of those like collar necks up here. You guys see that? I got one of those collar neck things. Dude, I thought I had sensory processing disorder, which is like you get like hypersensitive, but then I realized I was just a kid. Dude, I used to hate when I had to wear collar shirts like this. But I put this listen, this is how crazy, this is how deep I am to the podcast world right now. I'll literally put on this shirt just for a podcast. And I'm not lying. Like, I want to have... So, like, when you grab a thumbnail, you want to have a shirt that stands out. Like, you can't have... Like, it's so funny. If you look at my viewed videos, the most viewed ones are the ones where I'm wearing a shirt that stands out. You know? And it's, like, it's hilarious. And it's, like, it shouldn't be that way, but it is, man. It's a little marketing tactics. And there's, like, psychology to show that, like, certain colors, literally, like, marketing and psychology goes very hand to hand. I mean, they literally, like marketing companies know sex, fear, and hunger. Sex, fear, and humor are the top 3 emotions that draw people in. Like, that's all psychology right there. And how do you elicit those emotions through people? And So I put on this collar shirt today, or this little, not collar shirt, but this little choker, whatever it is. And that's a weird thing, dude. You remember girls used to always wear those chokers? I don't see it much anymore. It like came and went, but that shit was, unless you're into that. But like when you just see people wearing like chokers, I was so confused. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't for me. I guess maybe not for me. That makes you sound like a fucking piece of shit. But like I just didn't understand it because I wouldn't wear a choker, and I don't think I knew any girls. I did, but like I don't know. It was just so strange to me. Like I was like, it's like no, that goes on a dog. Like I guess that was my first thought. Like no, that goes on a dog. Like you don't put that around your neck. Like you need your neck to like breathe well. And it's like if there's any like restriction. It was just weird to me. And then like the ones with the chains, you remember that shit? You remember like walking through middle school and high school and like little like Miss Jansen over there, or like I don't know, I'm just making up names, like fucking Sabrina would be popping out with the goddamn pitbull collar, and you'd be like, what is going on over there? And she would like love it. There was guys with that shit, but guys usually wore their collars around the wrist, or I guess this would be wristbands with like the long pokey things, just stabbing motherfuckers in the locker room. That shit was wild though, man. But back to what I was talking about, therapy. I wonder if those people went to therapy. I wonder if there's like a strong correlation with like the more jewelry you wear, like the more out there articles of accessories that you put on your body. I wonder if there's like a strong correlation for like higher percentage of those people are in therapy, or like were in a therapy and dropped out of therapy, and that's why they fucking wear dog collars now when they're walking up and down the mall. But that shit was so wild. That shit came so quick. It kind of came like during like the Green Day era. Like you remember, I grew up listening to Green Day. Like I remember I got the first album. My parents lost their fucking mind. Like literally, I remember I was at this house. I was sitting out front. I was like playing with the trucks on my skateboard. I was a terrible skater. I was too fat for my own good, and I couldn't skate. But I wanted to skate really bad, so I would try to skate. But I was always fall. And every time you fall when you're fat, it hurts even more because there's just like gravity just like fucks you when you're fat, and like, it's just not good when you're over. Falling sucks in general, but when you're fat, it hurts even more. Even though people say like there's more cushion, it's like, yeah, there's more cushion, but dude, it just fucking hurts more. And it was like cold outside, so I would sit there and then I would listen to my music, and I started playing like Green Day. Dude, in that American Idiot album, I remember exactly where I was the first time I heard the album. I was out front. I fell. My hands were all scraped up, and I was bleeding. And on the front, for the picture of the album cover, it's like blood. It's like I think it's like blood on a keychain. Let me look that up real quick. I have a few stories, or I guess articles I want to go over with you guys. American Idiot. Yeah, so it was like a grenade. That's what it was. It was a grenade, a heart grenade, and there's like blood dripping down the hand. And like where the blood is, it's like right in the middle. And that's exactly where I had my cut at. So I thought that shit was so wild, so I thought it was like a calling to me. But I remember my parents were so crazy. Well, they're not crazy, but they're just, I guess, protective in that sense because they're cops. So like they got really nervous about like anything that was like drug related at all because they kind of like see the worst side of it. Now I don't do that stuff. I don't know. I would, but I just don't want to right now. You guys know, like everything for me is like an ROI. I don't know. I also get scared that I love it. But yeah, and so I had like a cut running down my hand. And when that Jesus of Suburbia song came on, like that video, this is back when like music videos were like music videos. Like everybody watched music videos. Like Avril Lavigne was dropping Skater Boy. Jesus of Suburbia, which was like my favorite video. Wake Me Up When September Ends. I'm trying to think some good. 6 Foot 7 Foot by Lil Wayne. Just like these music videos, they were like art forms, and I remember just watching that part, and I was so naive at the time. Like that scene in Jesus of Suburbia where they're like in the bathroom and the chick's like naked, and I was at the age where like you would see like a street cone, and if it looked like a nipple, you would get like you would get horny, and it was like fucking weird. But I was at that age where like hormones are just flying through your body left and right. But that scene, and now I think back to it, I'm like, oh wait, that was just like a chick trying to get off of fucking drugs. But at that age, you don't even realize it, So like that was like my first like keyhole into like what the hell, like really noticing the opposite sex. But I remember that album, dude. I would listen to that album top to bottom. So like I connected with like the blood on his hand because the first time I heard it was at that time. And like the grenade, the front cover had the blood running down the hand. So I was like, dude, that's one point right there. Like we're like Billy Joel and I, or Billy Joel, I think that's his name. I hope that's his name. We're connected, right? And then like Wake Me Up with September End came on. I was like, dude, my birthday's in September. And I was like, what the fuck? That's so cool. And then I didn't realize his dad dying. And then I heard like the Holiday where he's like talking about like the world's so full of hypocrites and like putting a plastic bag over the American flag. And I was like, fuck yeah, fuck America. Like I went through like that phase for like a few months. But it was just so crazy how much that music, like that album played. Like I always think about it, like my dad, you know, he loves Bob Seger. And like my mom likes like Sugar Gang. And she likes like Salt and Pepper, like a lot of rap groups. And they can like remember where they were in their life at those certain times with the certain music. And I've always wondered what is that going to be for me? Is it going to be classic rock like as of now? Or is it going to be like what classic rock is now, like Lynyrd Skynyrd and, you know, Bob Seger, you know, all those guys, you know, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, the Beatles. Is that going to be my classic rock, or is that just classic rock right now? And what I'm going to be talking about is like, you know, Blink, Goo Goo Dolls, Lifehouse, Green Day, Nickelback. I know a lot of people hate on them, but the music's catchy, you know what I mean? Like I've always wondered, like, what is that going to be? You know, like what am I going to be telling my kids about? But yeah, dude. Fuck, what was I talking about? Shit, I think I was talking about podcasts, maybe. I'm doing a podcast right now. Dude, I just had a mental block. Damn it. Yeah, man. Oh yeah, therapy. Yeah, so I got to go to therapy today, and I'm only doing like once every 2 months now. And I know it's good for me, but you know, it's just, I guess there's just so much momentum. Like sometimes you hit a point in your life where so many things are just kind of going for you, and like momentum's just building up, you know. And I would much rather use that hour today, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, to study for my exam tomorrow, instead of having to go to therapy and talk. And it's just like one of those things where like I wanted to cancel, but I know that I always feel better after therapy. You know what's so wild about it? It's like working out. Like you always feel better after you work out. And I always feel better after therapy, even on the days I don't want to go. Like when I first started, I never really wanted to go because I didn't want to have to deal with like the truth. I didn't want to deal with that. I wanted to just lie and like kind of just move on with my life like that, like a lot of people do. And a lot of people do it because it masks itself as a lot easier, you know, like the ability to just sit there and like, fuck that, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do that. It's stressful only if you realize it's stressful, you know. But then once you realize what it actually was doing to your body, like how exhausting it was, you get stressed out knowing that that's around the corner again, you know. But when you're first going to therapy, you don't want to go, man, because you don't want to have to deal with like the truth. You don't want to see your flaws. Like you just want to keep moving around and just, you know, living your life self-destructively or selfishly or whatever it is that you're going to therapy for. Like you don't want to have to, I guess, grow up in some sense, or not even grow up, but to come to the conclusion that, you know, maybe this was an issue. You know, that's scary for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to do that. But yeah, I got to go to that today. And I'm not too worried about it. Just kind of something I'm like, I'd much rather just get an extra hour of studying in. But it's going to be fine, you know. I finally went back to the gym today. Like, I've been off the gym for 4 days now, man. Right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I guess 3 days. No, actually just 2 days. Yeah, just 2 days I didn't go to the gym. And, dude, I don't know what it is, man. Lately, I just haven't been, I guess, feeling it, man. I've just been exhausted. Exhausted, that's what it is. I'm just exhausted, you know, and, you know, fuck it. I should be going to the gym. But it is hard to, like, work at a gym, you know, 40 hours, you know, 30, 35 hours a week, and then working out. It's not easy, you know. It's not easy at all, but it's just a bunch of excuses. And, you know, life's just kind of crazy right now in the sense that there's just so much going on. Like, there's so many things I haven't even talked to you guys about because that's just how many things are bouncing around in my head all the time. But, so I think it will be good for me to go to therapy and just kind of almost vent. I don't know if we're not even going to work on anything. Like coming once, 6 times a year, you're not really working on anything. Now if something comes up and I feel like we have to talk about it, then I'll lead with it, then we can start going, once a week or twice a week, and then there's opens the door for that. But other than that, man, I'm not really like too worried about it. I'm just being a bitch. I just don't want to go. Just like I didn't want to work out yesterday, so I didn't. Just like I didn't want to work out on Monday, so I didn't. But I woke up this morning. I don't know what it was. I set my alarm on my phone, and I hooked it up to the charger. I think it updated last night, and I'm so angry, but I'm so lucky too. My phone, I woke up this morning and it was turned off, and I was like, oh, it died, because my cord sometimes doesn't charge all the way. I was like, oh, it's probably just turned off. And I looked at my phone and it said 100%, but my phone was turned off. After I turned it back on, it said 100%. And I was so confused. I was like, what the fuck? But I was so lucky because I didn't have to be up for school or anything. But I wasn't lucky in the sense that, oh my God, what if this happened on Tuesday and Thursday? Or what if it happened on the weekend? Then I started panicking, fuck, man. I'm starting to panic right now. Dude, I got to figure that out, man. That's not cool. Because I got to be up at certain times to go to work, blah, 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 blah. In my head, being late to work isn't just being late to work. And there's a reason why I've never done it, because in my head, late to work means I get fired immediately, because I get pissed off when people are late. I get fired immediately. When I get fired, I don't just get fired from a job, but I get fired from the gym. So now I don't go to the gym anymore. Now I don't have a job anymore. Then I make no money. I don't feel like I have any self-worth. So I drop out of school. When I drop out of school, my girlfriend leaves me. My family disowns me. They both disown me. I become homeless. I get hooked on the heroin. I get hooked on the heroin. I OD. That's how my head works. It just kind of goes down this fucking rabbit hole. And it was all that is stemmed from the phone just turning off, And, yeah, man. So I just kind of forced myself to the gym today, and I felt good. I didn't feel great. I just haven't really been working out hard. The motivation just hasn't been there, and it's just because there's so much shit going on. I think I'm finally, for the past 7 years I've been working out. No, not 7 years. 16, 17. Yeah, no. Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, for the past 6 to 7. Holy fuck, man. So for the past 6 to 7 years I've been working out, man. And it's always been the priority. It literally has always been the priority of my life. And I think for the first time ever, I'm at a point now where it's not the priority. But that's okay. And I'm starting to realize, wait, that's okay. Because there's other things that I can make a priority in my life. And I think I've started to do that. I'm putting school first, and I'm putting work up there too. Self-care, it's way up there. And there's so many things that I'm looking out for now about myself rather than just working out. And my girlfriend, she's like, Mike, you really have she's like, you've really impressed me. You're not obsessive about working out anymore. You're okay if you don't work out, and you're okay if you don't eat at a certain time. You're okay if you accidentally eat too much. Holy shit, because that's I remember, dude, when I was working out 3 times a day, 1 hour cardio in the morning, 5 a.m. to 6, and I was doing an hour cardio before I went to bed, and then I was working out weights during the day. And it got to the point where it was I was ruining relationships. I was ruining my health. I was ruining myself. I wasn't getting anything done because I could always be like, oh, that's okay. Who cares about school because your biceps are bigger, or it's not just your biceps, your health is bigger. So you're trying to live longer, I always quantified it in my head, and I would freak out if I ate too much, and I would freak out if I didn't eat enough. And dude, it was just bad, man. And I'm just slowly starting to prioritize other things in my life have really allowed me to calm down with that obsessiveness. For me, OCD comes and goes, and when it's there, it's it's brutal, man. Shit, it's always a bad episode, I never have a minor dose of OCD. When I get that shit, man, it's game over, it's game over. When I get really, I guess, anxious, and a side effect of that is I bite my nails. I only stop biting my nails when there's nothing to bite left on my nails. I'm not talking just skin or fingers. I'm talking everything is just gone, dude. I don't have anything to bite anymore. And there's blood all over my hands. I'm bleeding at school. I'm bleeding on my table here. That shit, it gets wild, dude. It really does. And I just start bleeding everywhere. But yeah, man. So, just a lot going on, which is fine. That's good. That's what I want. But finally back at the gym, which makes me feel really good about myself. Workouts are okay, just nothing crazy. I'm just trying to, I guess I'm just going through the motions to hopefully get back into it full time. 4 to 6 days a week, not 7, 3 times a day like I used to. I mean, if you take all it, I was working out 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 times a day, 2 to 3 hours a day, working out 2 to 3 times a day for 2 to 3 hours each time. I was doing a day and a half of just in the gym working out, man. That's not healthy. Like, you shouldn't do that. But a lot of things I've also, I've been focusing my attention a lot more productive things like this podcast and school and just having goals now. Like, when you work out that much, you don't really have a goal. You're just kind of just going so you don't lose your goddamn mind. But besides that, everything else seems to be going really well for me. I'm very happy with where I am. People around me seem very happy. I'm very happy. Life is okay. The holidays are coming up. Family's going to be around. It's going to be interesting to talk to family about the podcast because I know a lot of them are aware of it. So hopefully, I don't really care if it's negative or positive, but it is going to be interesting to hear what people have to say because I do talk about so many things all the time. And the topics I bring up are just, sometimes they are very close to people's heart, and sometimes they're just very radical, and sometimes I say things that I don't even know what I said. I just say them because they're up in my brain, and I don't know how to turn the switch off sometimes. Hasn't got me in trouble yet, but after 44 episodes in about an hour each time, I mean, you're looking at about almost 2 days of content. And it's going to be interesting to see. And, I can't really, it's hard for me to even wrap my head around, 44 episodes of just talking. It's even harder for me to wrap my head around is for the videos that do really well. I have a few videos that have 100 views. That's 100 people sitting out and watching the videos. That's mind blowing. Each video probably gets, 40 views, and having 40 people sit there. They get, people watch for about an hour, whatever the max time is, usually around that time. And I have people just sitting there watching. That's so crazy to me that people are out there just watching what I have to say for an hour straight. That's a little, that's a classroom full of kids just listening to what you have to say 2 to 3 times a week. I don't know, it's really interesting to think. And I'm super appreciative of all that and all the love that I get. But yeah, man, I got a few things I just want to talk about real quick. They're kind of out there. I guess a lot of it is psychology based, or I don't know, drug based. And for somebody, I don't use drugs, so it's really crazy. It's really weird when I talk about drugs because I know since I don't use it, a lot of people are going to have different opinions about if I should be allowed to talk about it, if I shouldn't be allowed to talk about it. But at the end of the day, it's just interesting to hear about these studies that are coming out with all these certain drugs and how with the correlation with the rise of mental illness, it's going through the roof, anxiety, depression, suicide, everything. People are just losing their minds all the time, every day, every second of the day, and a lot of it has to do with this rapid increase of cell phone use, technology use, distractions from our own thoughts. So when our thoughts do have a chance to come around, they just flood our fucking brains. When you're off your phone for an hour and then towards the end of the hour, you realize I haven't been on my phone yet. You start getting in your own thoughts, and it's I was telling my girlfriend, I was you remember when we were younger and your parents would be in the grocery store and you would be walking around the aisles with them. They would be out there buying their steak and, getting some Cheerios and stuff. And you were 10 to, 15, 16 years old. And you didn't have a phone, I guess I had one at 16, but I was 12 and I didn't have a phone yet. I would just sit there and I would follow and I would just be thinking things. Just mindless thoughts. Nothing important. Nothing that really impacted me. Nothing that connected me to higher powers. Nothing that really took me out of my zone. just thoughts, incomplete thoughts that didn't make sense. And you would just imagine things. You would just think. You were just thinking all day long. And I remember that. And I was like, I don't remember the last time I really had that. Like, you don't really have that anymore. You know, nowadays with like our constant, we always go back to our cell phones. You know, if you're in a situation that's awkward with somebody, you go to your phone. You know, if you're talking to somebody and you come with the conversation and you might check the time on your phone. If you are communicating with like, if you're listening to somebody like in a classroom and you're kind of zoning out of it, you're on your phone, you know, and like when you really need to talk to somebody, you call them or you text them, you know. Like if you're in an emergency, some people just like text and they don't text back. They're like, fuck. And then they realize they can call them. It's like, no, you can call them immediately. You know, it's like the phone. And then I was listening to this podcast and this guy named Ari Shafir was like, dude, I had this friend who's like talking. He's like, one of my friends, he got banned off of Instagram for 3 days. And within those 3 days, he checked his Instagram 72 times. 72 times. And then my first thing is, why would you check it? You're banned. And it's like, no, that's not it. That's what's crazy about social media and phones in general. Is like back to the marketing and the color things. Like they're designed to get you to click. You know, because the more time what they sell is what they want is for you to just be on the app. Number of times a day or twice a day, but each time you're on it for 2 hours straight. You know, it's like, that is what they want. And there's nothing as real as that feeling. Like I honestly can quantify. I understand that emotion 110%. That feeling you get when you're on your phone for 2 hours and then when you get off your phone. Like for me, my brain has to reset. It's not that it's dumber, but it's slower. You know, like it just works slower. I'm not as sharp with my words. I'm not as sharp with my thoughts. I'm not as sharp as I would be in a conversation with somebody if I never did spend a 1 hour binge on my phone. You know, and it like dumbs down our language and it distracts us from our thoughts. And then when we don't have it, or when you wake up and you're panicking, it's like, oh, why am I panicking first thing in the morning? Oh, because all day I'm just distracted by everything. And the one time I'm away from my phone, I'm dreaming at night. I'm sleeping. And I'm distracted. I wake up and just, boom, it hits you like a brick. You know, it just fucking crushes your brain. And it's like, it goes in this hyperdrive mode. And the first thing you do, besides like, you know, meditating or like letting those thoughts run around in your brain, but you meditate on them or working them out, like literally working out, which allows you to make everything so much easier to process. You get back on your phone. You immediately go to your phone. You know, like there's been times where I've fallen asleep and I wake up with my phone like on my, like under my shirt or like on me. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh my God, I literally fell asleep with my phone. With my phone. Like when you're younger, you fell asleep with like a stuffed animal. Now you're falling asleep with this robot. just underneath of you. You're waking up to this robot just underneath of you. Yeah, so you're seeing like anxiety and like depression, all these things go up. Because it also isolates you too, you know? It isolates you as a person, you know? You don't get out there. You don't really develop conversations with people. You don't really talk to people. You kind of just sit there in your room on your phone and you feel like you have friends because, you know, the number of people, I guess, communicating with you is really high. But it just doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. You know, it's not a real thing. And don't get me wrong. You can do well with just a phone. Like, nowadays, you can get a job anywhere, anytime, just with the phone. You know, you can make money just with the phone. You know, you can invest with your phone. You can do stocks with your phone. You can build businesses and brands with your phone. You can go into your room right now and just use your bar scanner, like use eBay. You can make $1,000 in your room right now. You know, if you really, really, really try hard enough. And it's like there's so many things that you can do with it, but at the same time, there's a balance, you know, and if that balance is off, and you're not spending enough time with your own thoughts, letting your mind just run wild, you know, it can lead to dangerous places. It can lead to just enormous bouts of anxiety, enormous bouts of depression, and just, you know, obsessive compulsive thoughts that you just can't get rid of. And so anyways, I was thinking a lot about like, I've always thought about this stuff, and one of my buddies brought me up this article, and I have it right here on my computer, and I just want to run over a few. Let me wet my whistle real quick. All these ads are diamond rings on my phone, on my laptop. Diamond rings, man, such a fucking scumbag industry, dude. It's targeted right at dudes, you know. Buy this for your significant other. She will never love you again. You're like, what the fuck? Like, you're literally selling something that people just got murdered over, you know, and you're probably gonna end up getting a divorce anyway. So it was like, what the fuck? Like, 8 people died for it, and you're gonna get a divorce. You don't even know. Like, the markup is insane. It's like finding a rock. Like, if I found a really pretty rock one day, and I was the first guy to ever find this pretty little rock, if I could shine it up, make it look really, really pretty, put some water on it, you know, make it like glisten in the sun, I could like sell it for like $2, and then I would get everyone else to start looking for these little rocks. You know, sell for $4, I get $1 kickback, they keep $3. You know, you just do that, and after 200 years, everybody's just mining these rocks, selling them for $2,000, $3,000, $10,000, like they do with diamonds now. Because that's all it is just a shiny rock. And like the value of it, so isn't that so crazy to think about? The value of something so high, even though what it is nothing besides a mineral. It's like a shiny mineral that's just hard to get, and people get slaughtered and raped for it. People go to war for it. Like Lebanon, or not Lebanon, but Liberia and like the west coast of Africa, Sierra Leone, just fucking murdered people for these. You know, these offers of marriage, like this thing that shows somebody that you love them. We are very weird. Humans are weird. We're weird animals, man. But yeah. So this article is all about ayahuasca. I just want to look up. I don't want to just say so many things that are like completely not true. I do want to So what is ayahuasca? Ayahuasca is it's an entheogenic brew made of Banisterosis, capi vine, and other ingredients. The brew is used as traditional spiritual medicine in ceremonies among the indigenous people of the Amazon basin and is known by a number of different names. So it's a drug, essentially, that it's like a psychedelic. That's basically, what it is. It's like, if you look at ayahuasca, there's just a bunch of images of people, of like brains and alternate realities, and like it's a drug that's used by a lot of native people. It's a plant, and people drink it like tea. And you can like go to like it says the Amazon, so you can literally take trips to like these countries along the Amazon, and you can go out there with a shaman who's like a quote-unquote professional drug user, essentially. He's a spiritual leader of a tribe or a group of people, kind of like a priest would be to like a Catholic faith. And they put you through this ceremony of taking this drug, and they protect you, and you blast off to this alternate reality. And this article right here, it says ayahuasca compound changes brainwaves to quote vivid walking dream state. In a study that just came out in yesterday, so 2 days ago, November 19th of this year, and it's sources from Imperial College London. And I'm just gonna give just like 2-line summary of it, but it was actually published in Scientific Report, which is like the science is like Scientific Report is like the most recognized science journal in the country. It's also the most accepted as like quality. Like if you make it in the science journal, you're what you're saying actually has real facts. And like this is a in the latest study, the Imperial team captured EEG measures from healthy participants in a clinical setting in a placebo-controlled design. So it was like a controlled study, and basically what they were trying to do is I'm gonna read the summary real quick for you. So scientists have peered inside the brain to show how taking DMT affects human consciousness by significantly altering the brain's electrical activity. So for so long, we haven't been able to figure out what consciousness is. Like, we don't know what it is. Like, when you wake up and first thing in the morning, you look outside and boom, what is it? The sun's coming up, the birds are making noise. It's a nice crisp weather out there. And it could be like that 2 days in a row, and you look out there and you have all these feelings of like what the day's going to bring. But there's something about like the way the sun looks. It makes you feel a certain way. You're conscious of what you're feeling. You don't know what is consciousness. Like, if you look up, what is consciousness? Nobody knows exactly what it is. Like, they understand consciousness is the simplest refers to sentence of awareness of internal or external existence. It's awareness that you're alive, and like animals don't really know upon their death. Like, they don't really know how many, like, until they die, they don't know what death is. You see your dog and your dog's like fucking pumped every morning because every day's like a new thing to them. They're like, whoa, I'm here again. I'm here. I remember this place. And it all clicks again. But like for humans, it's like, we all know about our death because we all know people who have died, and we've all seen people die. We've all had to take care of this people who are sick, and you're always aware of death. So like that awareness of your state, the awareness of your being, of you being a human, of you being here right now, me doing this podcast right here. I'm aware of this. I'm aware that I have a schedule I have to follow. I'm aware that I'm inside of this house right now in this state of Maryland, and I'm out here and there's all this is going around me. Animals, they're aware of the surroundings, but they're not aware of like, oh, like there's another falcon I'm a falcon here in Mississippi, but there's another falcon in Japan doing the same thing I'm doing. Like, no, it's like, I'm the falcon here in Mississippi. Like that awareness of your life, I guess, the beginning and ending of your life and everything that falls in between that. And for so long, there's been a question of like, how do you define mind? Like, what is a mind? And where does the consciousness take place? Is consciousness is it like a very A to C, like an A to B thing, like biologically? Like if I could shut down this part of your brain, you don't ever feel conscious anymore. You're just kind of like going through the motions, Or is it like what is it? Where does it come from? Is it in your brain? Is it like an aura? Is it a spirit? Is it like the world? But there's these drugs that like ayahuasca, specifically DMT or dimethylamine tamine. It's a psychoactive that's found in this ayahuasca, and you drink it. And apparently, the best way it's summarized at the end is it's hard to capture and communicate what it is like for people experiencing DMT, but likening it to daydreaming while awake or a near-death experience is useful. And the first time you read that, you're like, what the fuck? Like, why would you want to feel like you're dying? And it's like, I don't know if that's it. You hear a lot of people who take these drugs, and they come off of it and they feel like they understand like the meaning of life, or they look at the world differently. They start understanding, and I've never done it, and like I said, I might do it one day, but not anytime soon because I don't want to change the world I live in right now because I get scared that I might just stop going to school. I might just cut off like any financial income, and I might just become like a straight up hippie. But I think these people, like what the study shows, is that you go to a different world, and you come back and what this study shows is that the like when you take it, your brain is like heavily activated in ways that are only other ways that happen are when you're dreaming, when you're in a deep dream, when you're at a rapid eye movement stage, when you're just thoughts are running wild in your head. This drug will do that for you as you're awake, and like people say that that dreaming is like a conscious state. You are asleep. There's no outside stimulants affecting your thoughts. All your thoughts are your thoughts, and it's like this drug, they say what it was like the part of your brain that's heavily activating when you're dreaming is happening as you're taking it. It's like firing like 10 times the speed of like what it normally is. And you're awake. And it's like so short. And it like changes the way you look at the world. And I just thought this study was so interesting because there's something crazy going on right now with the world of psychedelics. I think people are starting to finally realize, wait a second here. I understand, like, there's, pharmaceutical companies making money, and that will always be a thing. And, if you have pain, you take an oxycodone, or if you're having anxiety, you take a Xanax, or, if you're really if you can't focus, you take an Adderall. If, there's so many things, like, oh, you're depressed, here's a, Trintellix. Like, there's all these things out there that are biochemically made, that are real, but then developed in factors. And I think for so long, the only reason why other drugs weren't used, why shrooms weren't used, why marijuana wasn't heavily used, was for the simple fact that they were, until they were illegal. So some asshole decided, no, that you can't do that. Until another grown-up told another grown-up they can't put that in their body. No, you can't eat a mushroom. And it's so crazy to me. Like, what if I walk up to a tree, and underneath the tree there's a psilocybin mushroom, which is the magic mushroom, which I think is legal in Colorado and Oregon, maybe Washington, and I think Oakland, California. There's a psilocybin, then there's a regular mushroom. This other mushroom won't hurt you. You eat it, it might kill you. Like, it might kill you. It might be so poisonous that it kills you. But the other one is psilocybin. That shit will make you go, not go crazy, but it'll make you high. I've never taken it, but it'll make you high. It'll make you high. It'll strip away your ego. It'll make you happy for a second. You know what I mean? Or it won't, but either way, it will take you to an alternate reality. But the other one will kill you. If I take the one that can kill you, that's not illegal. If I eat it, they take me to the hospital and they bring me back to life. If I don't die, they get the chemicals out of my body. They fix it. I won't go to jail. But dude, if I take that psilocybin one and I'm in Nebraska and I take that one, I'm going straight to jail. They're throwing me to jail. It's like, for what? For what? Because you ate a mushroom? Like, that is so insane. I mean, that's like my whole viewpoint on, like, the vaping industry and all these industries. It's like, wait a second here. Whoa, wait a second. Vaping, I understand, it's killing people. I get it. I'm totally aware of it. But alcohol, bro. People drink alcohol, which is a direct killer. It kills so many people. It ruins families. It ruins families. People die in car accidents. People get arrested. People assault people. People verbally abuse people. People sexually harass, rape other people because of alcohol. It doesn't unify a country. People say unify, it makes you more socially interactive. Yes, okay, that's true in dosages. And also genetically, if you're not genetically able to control your alcohol intake, it ruins everything. It ruins everything. It strips down society. If there's just too many alcoholics, and then you have cigarettes, which kills you. It literally gives you cancer. Like, we know that it takes minutes off your life. And then there's vaping, and then everyone loses their freaking mind when a few people die. It's like, whoa, wait a second here. What are we doing? And then you have these shrooms that, like, not killing people, but you can't take it. Why? Because you're happy and I'm not, and I'm pissed off about my life. Look, dude, I don't do them, and I am not against at all. Legalize it. I don't give a fuck, bro. I could care less. The fact that people get arrested and go to prison for that, for eating a shroom that makes them happy. Like, if you drink too much caffeine, you're happy. You have too much energy. Throw me in jail for that. If you're going to throw that person in jail for that. I don't want to get too political, but it's just so crazy to me that these... Anyways, there's these plants out here. And we take all these, these pharmaceutical drugs, which, a lot of them are great. They work. There's a reason why so many of them are used, because they do work. But there's also nature's medicine is out there, and, like, there's shrooms out there. And what they're starting to realize is, wait a second here, we got to look into these shrooms. People are saying that they take them and they come out of it and their life's okay. They're not depressed. They're not anxious anymore. They feel control of themselves. They feel like they're connected to something else in this world. So they start looking into this. And it's been going on for a while. And they've been using psilocybin to, let me just read this real quick. This was from July 5th. Portland State University. Subjects, hallucination, drugs, blah, 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 mental illness. Here's just an abstraction of it. And I'll just kind of give my opinion. And I'll probably just go on for about 5 to 8 more minutes real quick. This is by Joel Steele. Camden Grant Howard from Portland State University. Just trying to see if I can. I'm sure he's got a doctorate degree or a PhD. Anyways, so this is a summary of it. For years, the promise of psychedelics in therapeutic settings have been deterred by their general illegality. So the fact that they're illegal. And that's what I was saying. Like, the only reason why these aren't used is because some asshole thinks that you can't use them, so they arrest you and throw you in jail for taking a happy pill. However, present-day research shows promise in treating varying mental disorders. Amongst these disorders is post-traumatic stress disorder, which is close to me because I know people that do suffer from it. According to the organization PTSD United, PTSD presently affects about 8% of Americans. I would say it's higher. Many of the current treatments only offer symptomatic relief and do not work for every case of PTSD. So they don't get rid of it. They just kind of numb you to it. Or like not numb, but they get you, when you're having a really bad bout of it, how to deal with it instead of actually just getting rid of it. Psychedelics presently offer an alternative method of healing that focuses on treatment of the core issue with emphasis on human connection and guided confrontation of emotions and or trauma. Currently, it is one of the few PTSD-based therapies that allows for physical contact in the form of comfort and solidarity in the human connection. Presently, there is need to further research on how psychedelic drugs can help those struggling with PTSD. So basically what it's saying is that, yeah, there's no direct, this is just what the little research I've done on it. Obviously I'm not a doctor, so I don't do my own research, but the little stuff I have looked up is it does, veterans use it all the time. They've been using it for 10 years, longer than that. Anybody who suffers from PTSD, there's traumatic moments in your life, and the longer you get away from that moment, you start distracting yourself. You start covering it up. It's like digging a hole, and then you're at the bottom of the hole, and then you get your way out of it, and then you're moving on. Life's going on. And you're out of the hole, and you're walking away, but you're filling it up. You keep on filling it up and filling it up and filling it up, and then before you know it, you don't even remember why you are the way you are. You can't even think about it. You've blocked it out of your mental state so far, you don't even realize that you're struggling anymore. That's what I had to realize when I went to therapy. And this happens a lot with military people. They come back and they so much has happened, such a high alert phase all the time, 24/7. They forget what caused the level of stress that they were feeling, and so what they started doing was and my girlfriend sent me an article. They started microdosing these veterans with PTSD, with psilocybin and the magic mushroom, which is what this article is about, or LSD, and ecstasy, and they're microdosing these people. And what it does is these drugs remove your ego. You go from self or I to we, or to this thing. We're humans are selfish, right? Everything that we do is driven by selfish thoughts. I go to school to better my education. I'm in this relationship because it makes me feel good and it makes her feel good, but it makes me feel good and I'm happy in it. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship where I feel like shit, but it makes her happy because she can fucking, emotionally abuse me. She gets off on that. Everything you do is for yourself, usually. Everyone's wired that way, but sometimes life can, not wire you that way and fuck you up. But I think it's good. It's good to be selfish, which is something that I've just recently had to discover. But so we're selfish, and when you're going through things that are so tragic all the time, you kind of just you pull your boots up and you just keep moving because you don't have time. And in reality is you don't have time to think about what you just saw, what you just did, or what you just heard, or what you did to that person. And and these events just slowly start stacking on each other, and then your ego gets in the way. That thing, that self, that I gets in the way, and then and then you don't even realize where it came from, and then you get to the point where you just lose your mind. You know, you lose your mind and you become very hyper aware of certain things and hyper aggressive, or you just completely disconnect yourself from the world because you just unraveled. You know, it's like if you take a ball of yarn, and something happens and the ball is here, it's tight, and then the traumatic event happens and then the tightness slowly goes. The yarn will completely level out. Will fill out, and there will be no more yarn left. And then you just can't wind yourself back up. And they're saying that these drugs, like what's so amazing about them is that they take you to that moment of your life where it happened. Because your ego is the only reason why you can't get back to that moment. Because you're combating yourself. You don't want to go back there. And what they say with these drugs, it fights you. And your body can't even fight it anymore. Because it fights you. But then through these drugs, you can't fight your body anymore. Because your brain just says, hey, fuck, dude, calm down, bro. Chill, man. Like, calm down. And it goes back to that memory. And you fight that memory. And then it doesn't fix it, but you come back and you like, fuck, that's what it was. Then you have to have the ability to talk about it. But there's so many cool studies coming out on it, like microdosing and like slowly getting rid of it over years, or, over weeks, instead of taking 10 years. Because no matter how much you want therapy to work, therapy only works as you open yourself up. And a lot of people don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. It took me weeks to open up. But I don't know. There's just a lot of studies on these drugs, and I think people should be allowed to use them. Like, why not, dude? I don't get it. Why not? Why not be allowed to use these drugs? Who cares? You can start drinking by 21 when your prefrontal cortex is like not even close to being full. I mean, it's got like 4 or 5 years left till it's actually formed, and then you're actually kind of a human. But then you have experiences that will slowly alter the shape of your brain again. So it's like, I don't get it. I've never understood. I've always been that kid who's like questioned like laws like that regard like health. Like I should be allowed to put into my body what I want to put in my body, as long as it doesn't affect people around me. But the one thing that is super legal and is allowed is alcohol that affects everybody around me, and it increases healthcare, and it increases insurance, and it increases so many things. It's just so wild. You ever think about that? That shit's so wild to me. But I don't know. I got to shower. I got to study for my my data, my math. I don't know. It's like a stat class, stupid fucking dumb stuff. I got to do that. I got to go to therapy. I got to edit up this video so you guys can watch it. But the weekend's coming up. Girlfriend should be back. I'm going to try to get her on the podcast at least once this break, maybe twice. We're just going to shoot the shit and just hang out and talk. But yeah, guys, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you guys are on audio, please just leave it a rating. 5 stars preferably, but whatever you guys think I deserve. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have yourself a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I'll catch you guys on Monday or Tuesday. See ya.